Welcome to Astrology and Spirituality, the podcast. I'm Nutan Joshi.
And I am Sneh Joshi.
Together, we will explore the big questions in life, like what is karma and reincarnation?
What is our purpose in life?
And is everything predestined or do we have free will? We'll be looking at everything from the perspective of a yogi
and a Vedic astrologer.
We're ready. Are you? Hi everyone, and welcome back to Astrology and Spirituality, the podcast. In today's episode, we're going to discuss Sade Sati, otherwise known as Saturn's return from the natal moon. Saturn is known as the karmic taskmaster. So what does that mean in relation to Sade Sati?
Sade Sati in Sanskrit literally means 7.5 years of Saturn's return. Now, Saturn's return is not an easy time for anybody in their lifetime, okay? And it does last for 7.5 years. So one goes through a lot of turmoil in their life.
Okay, so in what way? If I came to you and I said I'm having a few problems and you said actually you're running your Sade Sati, what could you see from my chart?
Well, it all depends on the configuration of the planets. So if I see that you began your problems before you entered your Sade Sati, then you're going to have more problems on the same area of your life. So say it is money problems, and you go into your Sade Sati and you are going to have more money problems in the period. If you have relationship issues, then some people divorce and some people persevere, but not a great time in their relationships. So it is a very tough time.
Okay, so what I want to do is look at some famous people and just see how Sade Sati has affected their lives, just so we can put it into context for the listeners out there. I want to start with Rishi Sunak.
Okay.
So this is quite topical. We all know about Dishy Rishi. He came into the public sphere quite recently and everyone loved him. He's had a bit of a fall from grace. So he's been fined for Partygate. His wife has agreed to pay, I think, £20 million in tax to the UK government, even though she's made all of her money abroad. And he's also moved his family out of number 11. Is this all connected to his Sade Sati?
Well, and don't forget that people are not very fond of him.
No, because of his budget. That's it. So his reputation has taken a bit of a nosedive.
So it has taken a bit of a nosedive, and you must remember the positioning of Saturn now. So where is Saturn sitting today? It is now, at this minute, as I'm talking on the podcast, is sitting at 29 degrees and say 40 minutes. So he's literally trying to come out of that sign, going towards his Sade Sati.
Okay, so he's not in his Sade Sati at the moment. When does he enter it?
So he enters this on the 30th of April.
Right.
Which is not far
It's around
now.
the corner. It's like 1 week.
And he's already having issues.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens, because it's not going to be an easy time for him. And I know he had huge ambitions about becoming the Prime Minister and everything. I have my doubts.
Okay, so what is Rishi like as a person astrologically?
Okay, now that's the fun part. I know people wouldn't realize that, but he has got 6 planets sitting in fire signs. He's got 4 in the sign of Leo the lion. That is a fire sign, and you should know about that because you've got 4 planets in the sign of Leo.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And so he's a feisty guy, he's a warm guy, he wants to be center of attention, and say if he goes to a party or somewhere, whoa, it's Sunak. And I know that's what would happen to you if you entered a party.
No, I just sit in the corner. I don't talk to anyone.
These are the characteristics of a Leo person. And they're not bad because they're very warm people. Remember that. And he also has 2 planets in the sign of Aries. Aries is very much to do with business.
Okay. So would that indicate why he's acquired all this wealth? Because a lot of people talk of how he's married a billionairess, which is true. But even before that, you know, he helped launch a hedge fund and he's always been working in finance. So the guy had money anyway, right?
Yeah, we can't say that you can pick your partner because we spoke about it in our first podcast, and marriages are karmic. So your partner's already chosen. So that's a bonus. He's a lucky guy. And I know he has ambitions, but even if he doesn't get to them, doesn't mean things are going to go pear-shaped. But we have our desires and things that we want to do in our life, and he will suffer like that.
Okay, so do you think he'll ever make it to Prime Minister?
I have my doubts. And even if he did, he wouldn't last very long.
Interesting, because Donald Trump became president during his Sade Sati, but we all know how that turned out. So talk me through Donald Trump's
Okay,
chart.
now Donald Trump again is a Leo rising.
All these fire signs.
And he's got Mars in the first house. So
Right.
I do imagine him as a president. But when you look at him and his lifestyle and you think, hang on, this guy knows nothing about politics. And he's lost a lot of money as well. He went bankrupt, he had divorce, all that. And then he becomes the president of USA. Now, it's to do with how he was born. He was born at a time when he had a Kala Sarp Yoga with an eclipse. Eclipses are very powerful. In the axis of his 10 and 4, which is work. All right, 10 is work. And so when he became the president, and I think you rang me around the time.
I was watching the elections because I always do that. I called up my mum and said, okay, is he going to win? And you said, I actually think he is, but let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
And I knew he was running his Sade Sati at the time. So I said, no, I don't think it's going to happen.
But anyway, it happened because of the eclipse.
Okay.
He became the president because it changes your life. But it takes you up and then it drops you as well. And it was all tinged with Sade Sati as well. So all that fame and fortune or whatever he had in that period, you know how it ended.
Yeah, I mean, it's a complete loss of reputation. People don't really consider him now. And he's even been banned from Twitter. So, I mean, thank God we can't really hear from him. I didn't really appreciate those tweets. But, so that is what Sade Sati can do. It can ruin it.
Oh, yes. I mean, I know a lot of people who've done very well in their Sade Sati, but there are certain parts in their life which have not gone very well. I remember a client of mine who actually divorced his wife and he bought a radio station. Can you believe that? No, he won the lottery, sorry.
Yeah.
And I know that
I
comes
remember
out of the
this
blue.
story.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah, you told me he won the lottery and I was like, what? How is that indicated in his chart?
And that's how he acquired the radio station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he divorced his wife.
And there was not a sign that he would leave his wife when he came to meet me because she came with him.
Yeah.
And there was no sign of it. But that's what Sade Sati does to you.
So it just kind of takes you off kilter.
It does.
Okay. So Boris Johnson, he has been accused of misleading Parliament. Everyone is asking for him to resign. We've got the May elections around the corner. Is he going to last as Prime Minister for much longer?
Okay, so let's start with Boris. Boris is a Virgo rising. Who would believe it?
So Virgo rising people are very meticulous, they're very down to detail, and they're quite serious people.
Yeah, they're very cautious by nature. Who would believe that?
No.
And that split in his personality comes from Gemini.
Okay.
Because he has 4 planets in the sign of Gemini.
Okay, so that would make you very communicative. Persuasion comes easily to him.
Two-faced.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that.
He can blow hot and cold.
Yeah.
He can be very nice, and then on the flip side,
Very cutting.
cutting.
Yeah. Suits politics down to a T.
Oh, absolutely, because that is his house of status.
Yeah.
Number 10.
Okay, so that's his house of work
Yes,
and
it
yeah.
is. Yeah. But there are other good configurations in his chart. He's got a beautiful moon, the 11th ruler sitting in his financial house, number 2. Number 2 is our home life, and not only our home life, it is to do with our speech. He knows lots of languages. He's quite a charmer, because we are talking about the Libra sign. And moon in the Libra is absolutely brilliant.
Don't I have moon in Libra?
You do. You do.
It hasn't come down to me though.
You do. You do have a moon in the Libra sign. It's a good thing to have as a politician.
So he's not running his Sade Sati at the moment.
No, he's not. But I can tell you that when he had COVID, it was a very difficult time for him, because I looked at his chart when he was running that period in his life. It was a very tough time for him. He nearly died. I mean, he could have died, and I'm not saying that lightly. So he feels like he's got a second life now, or maybe that's why he had all those parties and everything. Who knows?
But I mean, that leads me on to Carrie Johnson, because
Well, yes.
Boris is not running his Sade Sati at the moment, but Carrie is.
You see, you brought me back to the subject now, why he is not running his period correctly. I have already mentioned that Saturn is frustrating everyone. It's sitting at 29 degrees and 45 minutes and it's trying to jump a sign and it hasn't done it, and it's up to the 30th of April when it does. And so in this time, everybody is frustrated. And yes, Carrie is running her Sade Sati.
Right, so that comes back to always looking at your partner's chart when you're analysing someone else's chart. Now with Rishi Sunak, we have no details on his wife. We don't have her birth date, so we couldn't look into her chart. But with Carrie Johnson, we know she's running her Sade Sati.
Yes, we do know.
Now, how is her Sade Sati going to impact Boris Johnson?
This is a good question that you're asking me, because people don't realize that when you get married karmically, your karma works together. So if your husband is running a good period and your wife isn't, then it is going to impact the husband.
Of course.
So I'm not saying that Boris is in a brilliant time, but the point remains that the choices of your partner and the decisions of your partner are going to impact on your husband or wife.
Yeah, so I mean, the rumours were that it was Carrie Johnson who fell out with Dominic Cummings. Big mistake. We all know how Machiavellian he is.
Wow.
So, of course...
That's another chart we need to look at.
We absolutely need to look at. So we knew he was going to come back for revenge. And of course, he had Boris and Carrie in his sight. But not only that, apparently Carrie also organised Boris's birthday party.
She did.
And now Boris is facing party.
Well, that's the fine he just paid, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And also the flat that she decorated.
Oh yeah, they both fell in public opinion because she spent a lot of money refurbishing her flat. Now, is this all going to impact Boris Johnson, and is he going to suffer from this politically?
Well, I feel he is, because I'll tell you why. In Boris's chart, Mercury goes retrograde in May. And in May, we have the local elections. And I mean, look at his reputation right now. I know he's in India, but you know, you can see what is going on in his life. And everybody's deserted him here. So I think it's only going the wrong way, not the right way. So I think he's in a lot of trouble.
Interesting. Okay, so let's talk about the Ambanis. Right, so we've got Mukesh Ambani and Anil Ambani. Now, if anyone knows anything about these two guys, they are India's richest men. Well, Mukesh Ambani definitely is. I think they had a bit of falling out after the death of their father because he didn't leave a will. So there's a lot of pressure on that relationship with regards to wills and legacies. What's going on with Mukesh Ambani?
Mukesh and Anil are two different people, though they are born in the same family. That's what you always have to understand, that just because you're born in the same family, it doesn't mean your fates are same or your destiny is the same or your free will is going to be the same. It's all dictated by your chart that you're born with. Remember that. The reason you're put together is because you're supposed to suffer or be happy as a family.
So it's karmic.
So it's very karmic. And so Anil, quite reckless because he doesn't listen to anybody. He's very fixed by nature. So if somebody tells him this is not the route to take because you might lose money, he's going to say, no, I've already decided. I know it's okay, because he thinks he knows it all.
How is that indicated in his chart?
Well, it is indicated because he's got planets in the sign of Taurus. And there are about, I think, 3 to 4 planets in his Taurus sign. And often people who have planets in the Taurus, they can be quite, the word is obnoxious. Like, I know it all. You don't tell me what to do. They don't need anybody's help. That sort of thing. They're very fixed-minded, and they can be controlling as well, by the way.
Okay. And now compare that to Mukesh.
Well, Mukesh is very different to his brother because Mukesh is a Scorpio rising. Scorpio rising people don't trust people easily. They are also cautious by nature, and they're not going to just go plunging into something just like that. And his planets are mostly in the sign of Aries. So business-wise, he's a very good person to deal with business.
So that's a bit like Rishi Sunak's chart. He said he had 2 planets in the sign of Aries.
That's right.
So that indicates entrepreneurship, business, and that could also indicate wealth.
Yes, it does. And you take chances as well in life, you know.
So the
because
higher the risk, the higher the reward.
That's right. And Mukesh is different.
We've all heard that Mukesh bailed out his brother, and
That's right.
the rumours are that Anil had a fortune of 42 billion,
Wow.
and it's now fallen to 300 million. Now, 300 million, not a bad number, but if you're falling from 42 billion, you've made some terrible decisions,
Yes.
business-wise.
Absolutely. And so if you compare the two charts, now you're going to ask me, why did Anil lose out? Anil has Saturn in his second house right now as I speak to you. So obviously Saturn plays a big part in our lives, all right? And if we make wrong decisions, it's not going to serve you well. But I'll tell you what Mukesh is running. Mukesh is running his Sade Sati. There he is, minding his own business.
Yeah, and then he's got to bail his brother out. And he spent a lot of money bailing his brother out. And one of your rules is never lend money, never borrow money during your Sade Sati.
Absolutely. You are supposed to be consolidating, and I'm sure they've got their own astrologers telling them what to do. But being the Ambani family, they don't want their brother to go into jail.
Of course not, no.
So you can see the fractures in their relationships. You think it was easy for Mukesh to just say, okay, you're my brother, I'm going to bail you out?
The rumour is it was their mother that intervened.
Well, there you go.
And said, okay, you have to bail him out.
You see, mothers are very like that. Doesn't matter who you are, what you are their children. And I think the mothers are always protective of their children.
Of course, yeah.
So I believe that she didn't want to see one son sort of being in that situation. And I mean, she's of a different era as well. She doesn't realize that your money is your money. But, you know, she thinks, oh, it's all right. You've got enough money. You can bail your brother out.
Yeah.
In today's day and age, it's not that simple. All right? Because obviously, Mukesh has his own things that he wants to do with his money. But the mother intervened. And yes, they bailed their brother out. So do you think Mukesh is going to see his money back?
Probably not.
No.
And more than that, it's the relationship that has suffered even more.
Look at that. Look at that. It's totally gone. And I think this is what we people have to understand, that the emotional turmoil that you go through, it's not just finances. I mean, of course, it matters to you if you're not doing very well in your life. And if your finance goes, then yes, it is a problem. But if you are at their stage, it's the emotional baggage that you need to carry.
Okay. So let's talk about Britney Spears.
Yeah.
So what is Britney's chart like?
Okay, Britney has a very complex chart. Okay, so it is important we discuss her before we discuss what she's running at the moment.
Yeah.
She has Saturn in her number 4 house, and any good astrologer will tell you we do not welcome that planet in the number 4 house, because it is a very dark place for you in that number 4 house.
So the 4th house indicates your home life.
Yeah.
And if you have the planet Saturn sitting there, the karmic taskmaster, you obviously have to learn a lot of lessons through your interactions with your family.
Yes.
And this is something she's got to go through.
She has to go through it. And so it also represents her mother, like you said. And so her mother obviously didn't have a very good life herself. And her relationship with Britney is quite strained.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how is her father indicated?
Well, he's sitting in the sign of Scorpio. So he's being very protective and kind of controlling of Britney.
Yeah.
And that's why they went through what they did recently.
Yeah, because he was controlling her finances, and she has now won the case to take back control of her finances. I mean, he was controlling lots of things. Like, he made her go on birth control. She wasn't allowed to have a child. She wasn't allowed to get married. And that's a long period of your life. I think it's been going on for 12 years or something like that.
That's not good. That's
No.
not good. So I know he's being protective, but then he's being overly protective. It's like being in a bad relationship, you know, where your husband is like that.
Yeah.
So, or your wife is like that. So yes, it was a very difficult time for her. Now she's in her Sade Sati.
Right.
Okay. So that she's in her Sade Sati, she decided to get the control of her money back in her own hands. Okay. And in doing that, I'm sure she spent a lot of money. And of course, mental anguish goes with it. So now she's got the money. Now what?
Yeah, well, it depends on her decisions and her choices and who she surrounds herself with. Astrologically, how does it look?
Not so good, because she's already got problems with the food and drink.
When you say food and drink, you do mean addictions.
Addictions.
Yeah.
That is the right word for it. Addictions.
Yeah.
So it could be you smoke a lot, you drink too much, or you're taking drugs, that sort of thing. She's also going through a lot of depression at the moment because Saturn and Moon are sitting together. All right.
So that makes you really unhappy.
Yes, it
Right.
does.
So that's not good. I mean, I have heard a rumour that she's pregnant and that she's married or she's about to marry her boyfriend. How do you see this playing out?
Well, it's not the right time, is it, Nutan?
But if it's karmic and you're meant to get married, then you're going to get married, right?
I'm glad you pulled me on that one, because I believe in that. Yes, it does happen, because a lot of people get married in their Sade Sati, but their marriages are not great.
Yeah, their wedding might be great, but their actual marriage may not.
Absolutely. The wedding might be great because you get married to the one you want to be with, and then you go through the process of unhappiness.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Now, some people survive that period and some people don't.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of divorces in this period.
Okay,
So remember
and
that.
what is she going through after her Sade Sati?
After her Sade Sati, she's still in the Jupiter period, which is protecting her a lot with her creativity, because she's a very creative person. I mean, that's all indicated in her chart, without a doubt.
So how is that indicated? Just for people who may...
We look at the third house and the fifth house of creativity, and she's got Jupiter in the fifth house. So, she's doing very well in her creative side. But look at her. She's having a baby. She's gone through all these court cases. Look at the state of her mind.
Yeah.
Where is it at? She might want to become more creative, but she can't because she's carrying a baby now.
Mm-hmm.
So it pulls her back. She's reined in because
Yeah.
Saturn is reining her in again.
Okay.
All right. So I believe that in this period, she still has 3.5 years to run. Take it from me. I mean, she if she doesn't deal with it correctly, or her karma doesn't deal with it correctly, because remember, Nutan, I've always maintained everybody's not born strong, and far from it. I mean, Brittany is not in a great place right now.
Yeah.
So Brittany has her own flaws that she has to deal with, but everybody can't deal with them correctly. All right? So whatever it is she's going through, we will see how she comes through. So if she's doing, I think you mentioned something about yoga.
Yeah, she does yoga. It's on her Instagram. She does yoga every day.
That's good.
She's very much into her healing crystals. And I think she's probably got people around her trying to make her more calm.
More spiritual.
Yeah.
I think it is so important to become spiritual when you're running your Sade Sati, so that you have a cool head and you're making the right decisions and choices for yourself. If your mind is going to be a scatterbrain,
Yeah,
you're not going to make the right decisions.
of course.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it is very important that you become more spiritual. And you don't have to become spiritual just because you're running that period.
Just generally, but not everyone is. We all have different priorities. So it's easy for us to sit here and say, become more spiritual, but unless you're that way inclined, you probably won't. Right?
You say that, but we should take 10 minutes out of our
I
daily
agree.
life and sit down and think about where we are heading.
I completely agree with you. I think that's something I do every single day, and it's helped me massively.
It does. It helps everybody.
And I love listening to mantras. That's my
Mantras
favourite
are
thing.
tremendous, absolutely tremendous. And people say, oh, but I don't understand the mantra. You don't need to understand
It's
it.
the vibrations.
It's the vibrations.
Yeah.
And I think that takes us a long way. So even if it is like 5 minutes, 10 minutes of your life, you should listen to mantras. You should have time for yourself. Even if you've had a baby. I say this to my clients who've had babies and they're running around like headless chickens, dropping children, picking children, have a new baby. I just say to them, when your husband comes home, 5 minutes, 10 minutes on your own, sit down and just reflect on what you want to do tomorrow, or how do you see your life and things like that. Just be mindful about everything around you.
Okay. So, in a nutshell, we are saying that Sade Sati is quite a challenging time.
And I'm going to interrupt you there
Go for it.
because I told you that.
When do you not interrupt me, Mum?
I know we are both like that. So there's one person I wanted to discuss which you did not mention,
who
and
is
that
it?
is Vijay Mallya. You know what he's going through, so tell me what you know.
He's getting extradited at the moment. He owes a lot of people money. Yeah, he's going through a bit of a tough time.
So what happened in his Sade Sati? He left India because everybody was after him. And he came to the UK. He's still in trouble because they're trying to extradite him. And I think they took one of his properties. I'm not sure.
God knows.
But anyway, whatever it is, he's running a Sade Sati.
Okay.
So in essence, he has lost a lot of money as well. And we should never say, oh, he's rich, he'll be all right. It's not about that. It is about losing money to the degree where your lifestyle goes. Remember that.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to change their lifestyle. And the anguish you go through, the mental anguish, because you fall from grace, your friends are watching you, you feel, oh my God, everybody knows about me, what's happened. So you're in the public eye. So it does kind of
have an effect.
Your ego goes down a bit. So all this is happening in Malia's chart, and he still has 3.5 years to run, would you believe it? So it's not over for him yet. So,
okay, so that all happened in his Sade Sati.
It did. And remember, when we go through Sade Sati, it all depends on your placement of your planets. What degree you're going to suffer is also indicated. Not everybody suffers as badly as some people do, because there are other parts of their life that are quite good. I mean, somebody might have a grandson or a granddaughter, children, and they might be finding happiness through them while they're going through this period. So 7.5 years, I'm trying to sort of summarize it, is not always all bad. And if you know about it, you can try and manage it and consolidate. That's my first thing.
And it happens every 30 years, right?
Yeah.
So in 30 years' time, your priorities will be different and it will impact different parts of your life. So I guess the older we get, it's more about our health. I mean, I think it should always be about our health because that is the most important thing. Yeah. But it may impact our finances. I guess that all depends on where Saturn sits in your chart.
Absolutely. Some people even die in their Sade Sati.
God,
I don't want to be dismal about it, but I'm talking about when you run it in your old age.
Yeah.
Because you might be ill because of illness, you might die, or if you're a young person and if you're going through it, an older person in your family can pass away. So this is all part of the Sade Sati that we run. And once we know that we are running it, I think we should be very much in control of it and take the hits, but not too many hits.
Okay. Well, that was our episode on Sade Sati, otherwise known as Saturn's return from the moon. We hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to our podcast, Astrology and Spirituality. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast. Find us in all those places, and we will see you next time. Thank you for listening. Namaste.
Namaste.